before you buy another drying rack jar, sterilizer, or drawer organizer. Stop! That spare oven rack sitting in your cupboard can do all of it and a few more things you'd never guess. Some of these are so simple, you'll wish you'd known them years ago, and wait till you see the last one. If you usually make toast by laying bread flat on a tray and flipping each slice one by one, this little trick will save you a significant amount of time. Instead of placing the bread flat slide each slice vertically between the gaps of the oven rack, the slices stay standing upright almost like a giant toast holder. This simple position allows hot air to circulate on both sides of the bread simultaneously. No more one side darker than the other. No more standing in front of the oven turning slices over one at a time. And the best part is that you can toast many slices at once using very little space. When finished, the bread comes out evenly crisp, beautifully golden, and perfectly toasted from edge to edge. That's one drawer gadget you can skip buying. And surprisingly, this oven rack can do much more than help with cooking. Here's a simple trick I wish I had known sooner. Take 2 clothes hangers and attach them to both sides of the oven rack. Then use a few zip ties or strong clips to secure all 4 corners tightly in place. Once everything is fixed together, the rack suddenly turns into a hanging storage and drying station. Now all you have to do is hang it on your laundry rack or clothesline. The spaces between the metal bars are perfect for hanging small items like socks, underwear, kitchen towels, baby clothes, or reusable cleaning cloths. Instead of using dozens of clothespins everywhere, you can neatly organize everything in one place. Honestly, it's one of those clever little home hacks that costs almost nothing but makes everyday life so much easier once you try it. And if you don't have a dish drying rack after washing dishes, don't worry. Your oven rack can help with that too. Simply place the rack diagonally across the kitchen sink. In just a few seconds, it turns into a practical draining station. Now you can place freshly washed cups, bowls, and plates. The water drips straight down into the sink instead of collecting all over your countertop. It beats a soggy towel every time. Everything gets more airflow, dries faster, and your kitchen stays cleaner with much less mess. It's such an easy trick, but once you try it, you'll probably start using it all the time. Stick with me because the rack handles one more washing up headache. With just a tiny adjustment, you can turn the oven rack into a lid organizer. Simply place the rack upright near the edge of the sink or countertop. The metal bars naturally create separate slots that are perfect for holding pot lids upright without falling over. Now, after washing your pot lids, instead of leaning them awkwardly against the wall or stacking them on top of each other, just slide each lid into one of the gaps in the rack. Look how neatly they stand in place. The water drains down easily, air flows around both sides, and the lids dry much faster without leaving puddles everywhere. Even larger glass lids stay surprisingly stable between the bars. This little trick also helps keep your kitchen more organized while cooking. Instead of having wet lids taking up space across the counter, everything stays standing neatly in one spot. After washing storage jars, it's always a good idea to sterilize them before using them for pasta nuts, spices, homemade jam, or other dry foods. But if you don't own a steamer, don't worry. Your oven rack can solve that problem too. Simply place the oven rack over a pot of hot water. Now, place the clean jars upside down directly on top of the rack. As the water heats up, the steam rises through the gaps and gently sterilizes the inside of each jar. This helps remove lingering odors and makes the jars much cleaner and safer for storing food. You don't need any expensive equipment or special kitchen gadgets, just a regular pot, some hot water, and the oven rack you already have at home. After steaming for a few minutes, leave the jars upside down on the rack and let them dry naturally. Once fully dry, the jars are ready to use for storing pasta cookies, cereal, dried fruit nuts, or anything else you want to keep fresh and organized in the kitchen. Such a simple little trick, but surprisingly useful once you know it. And for smaller oven racks like this one, there's another very practical use that many people never think about. You can turn it into a draining rack for fried food. After frying foods, a lot of extra oil usually clings to the surface. Instead, place the small oven rack on one side of the pan or over a tray. As soon as the food finishes frying, transfer it directly onto the rack. The extra oil immediately drips away underneath instead of staying trapped around the food. This small change makes a surprisingly big difference. And because the rack keeps the food elevated, you can continue frying multiple batches without the earlier pieces getting soft while they wait. Honestly, it feels almost like a restaurant kitchen trick, but you can easily do it at home using something you already have in your kitchen. Kitchen tools are usually tossed into drawers like this, and after a while, everything becomes a messy pile. Spatulas get tangled together, and every time you need one thing, you end up digging through the entire drawer. But with just an oven rack and a few hooks, you can completely organize this space in minutes. Previously, you just needed to hang the oven rack on a wall hook. Now take a few small hanging hooks or S-hooks and clip them onto the metal bars of the rack. And just like that, you've created a simple hanging rack for your kitchen tools. It can also save a surprising amount of storage space. You can hang spoons, tongs, scissors, measuring cups, peelers, or anything else you use regularly in the kitchen. Instead of cramming everything into crowded drawers, your tools are now neatly organized in one convenient spot without getting tangled together. Such a simple idea, but once you try it, you may never want to go back to messy kitchen drawers again. Give it a try and leave a comment below if you have an even better idea. I'd love to hear it. I used to stack thin lids baking trays, cutting boards and flat pans together in a basket like this. But every time I needed one item, I had to lift the entire pile just to find what I was looking for. But once again, the oven rack can solve this problem surprisingly well. Simply place the oven rack on top of the storage basket and secure it tightly with a few zip ties. After that, the metal bars instantly turn into separate dividers. Now, each gap becomes its own storage slot. You can slide pot lids, trays, chopping boards, baking sheets, or thin pans vertically into each section instead of stacking them on top of one another. Look how much neater everything becomes. It's honestly one of those small kitchen upgrades that makes daily cooking feel so much easier, especially if you have a small kitchen with limited storage space. I never thought a simple oven rack could do this many things in the kitchen. Which trick surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy simple kitchen hacks like these, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next tips.